Imagine sitting on an airplane and the flight attendant announces those familiar safety instructions. Secure your own mask first before helping others. This simple instruction carries one of life's most profound truths. You cannot give what you don't have. You cannot share peace if you haven't secured it for yourself first. I stand before you today, not as someone who's always had it figured out, but as someone who learned this lesson the hard way. For years, I was that person who thought peace was something you earned after everything else was perfect. After the bills were paid, after the kids were settled, after the career was established, but here's the truth that transformed my life, and I pray it will transform yours. A peace isn't a reward waiting at the finish line. It's the fuel you need to run the race. Our world has become a symphony of chaos. Our phones ping constantly with notifications. Our minds race with endless to-do lists. Our hearts heavy with the weight of expectations, both our own and others. We've normalized anxiety as if it's a prerequisite for success. We've accepted sleepless nights as the price of ambition. When was the last time you made your best decision in a state of chaos? When was the last time your greatest inspiration came while you were stressed to the breaking point? When was the last time your most meaningful connection with a loved one happened while you were rushing through your day? I once sat with a man who had built an empire worth millions. His company spanned continents. By all external measures, he was the definition of success. Yet there he sat, hands trembling, voice breaking, confessing that despite having everything he thought he wanted, he had lost himself along the way. This isn't just his story. This is the story of our time. We've become so focused on the destination that we've forgotten to fuel our journey with what matters most, our peace. Putting your peace first means recognizing that your state of being is more important than your list of doing. It means understanding that the quality of your presence matters more than the quantity of your actions. Think about water for a moment. When water is turbulent, it becomes murky. You can't see through it. But when water is still, it becomes clear and you can see right to the bottom. Our minds work the same way. When we're in a state of inner turbulence, our vision becomes clouded. We can't see solutions. We miss opportunities. We overlook blessings. The most profound decision I ever made was to stop treating peace as a nice to have and start treating it as a must have. It wasn't easy. Old habits die hard and our society doesn't make it any simpler. When you force yourself to put your peace first, everything else naturally falls into place. Here are 3 fundamental truths about peace that changed my life. First, peace is not passive. It's a powerful, active choice. Every morning, you have a decision to make. Will you let the world dictate your inner state, or will you choose peace as your foundation? This isn't about ignoring problems. It's about approaching them from a centered place of clarity. Second, peace is not the absence of conflict. It's the presence of something greater. It's the unwavering knowledge that regardless of what's happening around you, you can maintain your center. Like a lighthouse standing firm amidst a storm, your peace. Third, peace is not a destination. It's a practice. Just like you wouldn't expect to stay physically fit by working out once, you can't expect to maintain inner peace without daily commitment. Those who prioritize their peace don't achieve less. They achieve more. But the quality of their achievement is different. They don't arrive at their goals exhausted and empty. They arrive fulfilled, energized, and ready for the next challenge. So how do we make this shift? How do we force ourselves to put peace first in a world that seems designed to disrupt it? Begins with a revolutionary act, deciding that your peace is non-negotiable. This means learning to say no to things that compromise your inner harmony, even when they look good on paper. It means creating boundaries that protect your mental and emotional well. It means making choices based on what brings you peace rather than what brings you temporary pleasure or approval. Every time you compromise your peace for external validation, you're trading your birthright for a bowl of porridge. Every time you push through exhaustion instead of honoring your need for rest, you're withdrawing from your peace account without making any deposits. The beautiful paradox is that when you prioritize peace, you become more productive, not less. When your mind is clear and your heart is calm, you make better decisions. You communicate more effectively. You love more deeply. You create more meaningfully. I worked with a teacher who was constantly overwhelmed by the demands of her job. She felt guilty taking any time for herself, believing that every spare moment should be dedicated to her students. But when she finally committed to putting her peace first, starting her day with meditation, setting healthy boundaries, and honoring her need for rest, something remarkable happened. Not only did her stress levels decrease, but her impact on her students actually increased. Why? Because she was teaching from a place of fullness rather than depletion. This is the power of putting peace first. It's not selfish. It's essential. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity. And it's not just about you. It's about everyone whose life you touch. Think about the ripple effect of your peace. When you're at peace, you bring that energy into every room you enter. You become a living example of what's possible. Your relationships improve because you're no longer operating from a place of stress and reactivity. Your work improves because you're accessing your creativity and wisdom rather than just your adrenaline. But peace, your priority, requires courage. It requires you to swim against the current of a culture that glorifies busyness. It requires you to disappoint some people's expectations. It requires you to trust that by doing less, you might actually accomplish more. Would you like me to continue with the next section that explores practical strategies for maintaining peace in challenging situations? Let me share with you what I call the Peace First principles, practical strategies that will help you maintain your inner harmony, even when the world around you seems to be falling apart. The first principle is what I call the morning minutes. The way you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows. Most people wake up and immediately reach for their phones, bombarding their minds with information, demands, and other people's agendas. Instead, I challenge you to claim the first 15 minutes of your day for your peace. During these sacred morning minutes, do nothing but breathe and set your intentions. No phone, no news, no planning, just you connecting with your inner source of peace. It's like tuning an instrument before a concert. You wouldn't expect a violin to play beautiful music if it's out of tune. So why do we expect our lives to produce harmony when we don't take time to tune ourselves? The second principle is peace before performance. Before any important task, meeting, or conversation, take a moment to center yourself. One conscious breath can be the difference between reacting from fear and responding from wisdom. I've seen countless situations transform simply because someone chose to pause and find their peace before taking action. The third principle is what I call the peace pause. Throughout your day, set specific times to check in with yourself. Ask yourself, am I at peace right now? If not, what's disturbing my peace? This simple practice helps you catch yourself before you drift too far from your center. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. That sounds wonderful, but you don't know my life. You don't know my responsibilities, my pressures, my deadlines. And you're right. I don't, but I do know this. Without peace as your foundation, everything you're trying to manage, think about driving a car with misaligned wheels. You can still reach your destination, but you'll use more fuel, wear out your tires faster, and the journey will be more stressful. That's what life is like when we're out of alignment with our peace. The fourth principle is peace through perspective. Every time you feel your peace slipping away, ask yourself, will this matter 5 years from now? Most of what we lose our peace over won't even matter 5 days from now. This question helps you distinguish between what's truly important and what's merely urgent. I remember a successful businessman who was constantly losing his peace over small details. He would get worked up about minor setbacks, employee mistakes, and things not going exactly as planned. One day he had a health scare that forced him to re-evaluate from his hospital bed. None of those major problems seemed significant anymore. He realized he had been sacrificing his peace for things that ultimately didn't matter. The fifth principle is peace through acceptance. Much of our inner turmoil comes from fighting against what is. We exhaust ourselves trying to control the uncontrollable. True peace comes not from controlling everything, but from accepting what we cannot control while focusing our energy on what we can influence. This doesn't mean becoming passive or giving up. It means engaging with life from a place of wisdom rather than resistance. When you accept what is, you free up enormous amounts of energy that you can then direct toward positive change. The sixth principle is peace through boundaries. Your peace is directly proportional to the quality of your boundaries. Many of us lose our peace because we're trying to be everything to everyone. We say yes when we should say no. We take on responsibilities that aren't ours to carry. We let other people's emergencies become our emergencies. Setting boundaries isn't about building walls. It's about building bridges. Bridges that connect you to others while still honoring your own peace. When you set healthy boundaries, you're not just protecting your peace, you're teaching others how to treat you and modeling self-respect. The seventh principle is peace through purpose. When you're aligned with your purpose, peace flows naturally. This doesn't mean every day will be easy, but it means even the challenges will feel meaningful. Purpose gives context to your struggles and meaning to your sacrifices. I've noticed that people who are clear about their purpose rarely lose their peace over small things. They have a bigger picture that helps them maintain perspective. They understand that their peace isn't dependent on everything going perfectly. It's anchored in something deeper, their reason for being. The eighth principle is what I call peace through presence. Most of our peace is lost, either in regret about the past or worry about the future, but peace can only be found in the present moment. When you're fully present, even washing dishes can become a peaceful experience. When you're lost in thoughts about past or future, even a luxury vacation can feel stressful. The key to presence is to fully engage with whatever you're doing right now. If you're eating, just eat. If you're listening, just listen. If you're working, just work. This simple practice can transform ordinary moments into opportunities for peace. The ninth principle is peace through practice. Just like any skill, maintaining your peace gets easier with practice. Every time you choose peace over reaction, you're strengthening your peace muscle. Every time you return to your center after being knocked off balance, you're building resilience. Remember, the goal isn't to never lose your peace. That's unrealistic. The goal is to return to peace more quickly when you do lose it. It's like learning to ride a bike. At first, you might fall often, but with practice, you not only fall less frequently, but you also get better at regaining your balance. Finally, the 10th principle is peace through perspective shift. Instead of seeing challenges as threats to your peace, view them as opportunities to deepen your peace. Every difficult situation is an invitation to practice these principles at a deeper level. Now let's talk about what happens when you truly commit to putting your peace first. The transformation goes far beyond just feeling calmer. It revolutionizes every aspect of your life. Your relationships transform first. When you're at peace, you stop trying to fix, change, or control others. You stop taking things personally. You begin to listen, really listen. Not just wait for your turn to speak, you respond rather than react. The people in your life feel this shift. They feel seen, heard, and accepted because you're no longer approaching them from a place of inner turmoil. Your creativity blossoms next. Peace creates the optimal conditions for inspiration to flow. Think about it. Have your best ideas ever come when you were stressed and anxious? Or do they come in those moments of calm clarity? When you put your peace first, you create more space for innovation and insight. Your decision-making improves dramatically. From a peaceful state, you can see options that remain invisible when you're stressed. You develop what I call peaceful clarity, the ability to see situations from a higher perspective. You stop making decisions from fear and start making them from wisdom. Your health benefits profoundly. The connection between inner peace and physical health is well documented. When you prioritize peace, your sleep improves, your digestion gets better, your immune system strengthens. You're no longer constantly operating in fight or flight mode, which allows your body to heal and regenerate. But perhaps most importantly, your sense of purpose clarifies. When you're no longer caught in the chaos of constant doing, you can hear the quiet voice of your calling. You begin to understand that your worth isn't tied to your productivity or achievements. You recognize that your presence, your peaceful, centered presence, is your greatest gift to the world. Let me share a profound truth that took me years to understand. Peace is not just a state of mind. It's a force for transformation. When you put your peace first, you're not just making yourself feel better. You're changing the energy of every situation you enter. I witnessed this transformation In a corporate environment where tensions were high and conflict was constant, one leader decided to make peace his priority. Instead of getting caught up in the drama and power struggles, he maintained his center. At first, people thought he was weak or disengaged. But over time, something remarkable happened. His peaceful presence began to influence the entire organizational culture. Meetings became more productive. Conflicts were resolved more easily. Innovation increased. All because one person, this is what I call the peace ripple effect. Just as a stone dropped in a pond creates ripples that extend far beyond the point of impact, your peace, or lack of it, affects everything and everyone around you. When you're peaceful, you make better choices. When you make better choices, you create better results. When you create better results, you inspire others. When you inspire others, they begin to change. When they change, their relationships change. The ripple effect is endless. But here's the crucial part. This transformation isn't always comfortable. When you first commit to putting your peace first, you might face resistance, both internal and external. People might not understand why you're no longer available for drama. Your ego might fight against the idea of choosing peace over being right. Old habits of stress and worry might try to pull you back. This is where the forcing part comes in. Sometimes you have to force yourself to choose peace when everything in your conditioning is pushing you toward reaction. You have to force yourself to take that breath before responding. Force yourself to maintain boundaries that protect your peace. Force yourself to step back from situations that compromise your inner harmony. The more you force yourself to choose peace, the more natural it becomes. It's like building any new habit. At first, it requires conscious effort, but eventually, it becomes your default state. Think of it like learning a new language. At first, you have to consciously translate everything. It's awkward and requires constant effort. But with practice, thinking in the new language becomes natural. The same is true with peace. At first, choosing peace might feel like swimming upstream, but eventually, it becomes your native tongue. The key is to start where you are. Don't wait for perfect conditions to choose peace. Don't wait until your life is less busy, less demanding, or less complicated. Start now with whatever situation you're facing. If you're in a difficult conversation, choose peace. If you're stuck in traffic, choose peace. If you're facing a deadline, choose peace. If you're dealing with a challenging relationship, choose peace. Not as an escape, but as your foundation for effective action. Remember, putting peace first doesn't mean avoiding difficult situations or suppressing negative emotions. It means approaching every situation from a centered place. It means feeling your emotions fully while maintaining your connection to something deeper than momentary. This is what I call active peace. Peace that engages with life rather than retreating from it. Peace that strengthens you to face challenges rather than avoid them. Peace that empowers you to live more fully rather than limiting your experience. When you maintain your peace in challenging situations, you develop what I call peace confidence, the unshakable knowledge that you can handle whatever life brings while maintaining your center. This confidence becomes your superpower, allowing you to navigate life's complexities with grace and wisdom. Let's explore what I call the peace paradoxes. Seemingly contradictory truths about peace that, when understood, can transform your relationship with inner harmony. The first paradox is that peace requires strength. Many people mistakenly view peace as passive or weak. Nothing could be further from the truth. It takes tremendous strength to maintain your peace when everything around you is in chaos. It takes courage to choose peace when others are choosing conflict. It takes power to stay centered when the world is trying to pull you off balance. I remember watching a martial arts master demonstrate his skill. What struck me wasn't his ability to attack, but his ability to maintain perfect balance while others tried to disturb his center. That's what choosing peace looks like in daily life. Maintaining your center despite external pressures. The second paradox is that peace is both simple and challenging. The concept of peace is simple. It's our natural state, available to us in any moment. Yet maintaining peace can be one of life's greatest challenges. Why? Because we've developed habits of unpeace. We've trained ourselves to react, to worry, to stress. Breaking these habits requires consistent effort and awareness. The third paradox is that peace grows through disturbance. Just as muscles grow stronger through resistance, your capacity for peace grows through challenges. Each difficult situation is an opportunity to deepen your peace. When you maintain your peace during small disturbances, you build the strength to maintain it during larger ones. The fourth paradox is that peace is both personal and universal. Your peace is uniquely yours. No one can give it to you or take it away. Yet when you're at peace, you tap into something larger than yourself. You connect with a universal harmony that transcends individual experience. The fifth paradox is that putting peace first often requires putting other things second. This means sometimes disappointing people, saying no to good opportunities, or letting go of activities that don't serve your peace. Yet paradoxically, when you put peace first, you become more effective in all areas of life. Now let's talk about what I call the peace principles in practice. These are specific situations where maintaining peace becomes particularly challenging and how to handle them. First, there's a challenge of maintaining peace in relationships. When someone triggers you emotionally, your first instinct might be to react. But if you've made peace your priority, you pause. You ask yourself, is this response worth my peace? Often, you'll find it isn't. Then there's the challenge of maintaining peace at work. In a culture that glorifies stress and busyness, choosing peace can feel countercultural. But consider this, your best work never comes from a place of stress and anxiety. It comes from a place of focused calm. There's the challenge of maintaining peace with yourself. This might be the hardest practice of all. We often treat ourselves with less compassion than we would show to strangers. Putting peace first means making peace with your imperfections, your past mistakes, your current struggles. There's also the challenge of maintaining peace in times of change and uncertainty. When the future is unclear, our minds tend to create worst-case scenarios. Putting peace first means choosing to stay centered in the present moment rather than getting lost in hypothetical futures. Let's talk about what I call peace anchors, practices and perspectives that help you maintain your peace, even in stormy weather. The first anchor is gratitude. When you're truly grateful, it's impossible to be disturbed. Gratitude and anxiety cannot coexist in the same moment. Make it a practice to notice what's going right in your life, especially when things seem to be going wrong. The second anchor is purpose. When you're clear about why you're doing what you're doing, temporary disturbances become less disruptive. Your purpose becomes a North Star that helps you maintain your direction even when the path is unclear. The third anchor is perspective. Most of what disturbs our peace looks different when we step back and view it from a larger perspective. Ask yourself, how will I view this situation 5 years from now? The fourth anchor is presence. Most of our peace is lost in thoughts about the past or future. When you bring your attention fully to the present moment, peace naturally arises. This doesn't mean you don't plan for the future or learn from the past. It means you do these things from a place of present moment awareness. The fifth anchor is acceptance. Much of our inner turmoil comes from fighting against what is. Acceptance doesn't mean you approve of everything or that you don't work to change things. It means you stop arguing with reality. You start from what is, rather than exhausting yourself fighting against it. Remember, putting your peace first is not a one-time decision. It's a moment-by-moment choice. Each moment presents a new opportunity to choose peace over reactivity, calm over chaos, wisdom over impulse. This practice becomes particularly important during life's inevitable challenges. When facing difficulties, ask yourself, how can I approach this situation while maintaining my peace? Notice I didn't say, how can I avoid this situation? Or how can I make this situation go away? Peace isn't about avoidance. It's about engagement from a centered place. Let me share with you what I call the peace revolution, because that's truly what happens when you commit to putting your peace first. It's not just a personal transformation. It's a revolution in how you experience and interact with life itself. Every great change, every meaningful achievement, every lasting transformation begins with a peaceful mind. Not with a plan, not with a goal, not with a strategy, but with peace. When you understand this, you realize that putting your peace first isn't selfish. It's essential. Think about the most influential people throughout history. Those who created lasting, positive change didn't do it from a place of inner turmoil. They operated from a deep well of inner peace that gave them the clarity to see what others couldn't see and the courage to do what others wouldn't do. But here's what many people don't understand about peace. It's not about creating the perfect environment. It's about developing an unshakable center, regardless of your environment. It's about being the eye of the hurricane, still, centered and clear while everything around you spins. Some of you might be thinking, but what about ambition? What about drive? What about making things happen? Here's the truth. Peace doesn't diminish your ambition. It purifies it. It doesn't reduce your drive. It directs it. It doesn't stop you from making things happen. It helps you make the right things happen in the right way. I remember working with an Olympic athlete who was struggling with performance anxiety. He had all the physical skills, all the training, all the potential, but his mind was his biggest opponent. When he finally understood that peak performance comes from peace, not pressure, everything changed. He stopped trying to force success and started allowing it to flow from his peaceful center. This is what I call peace power. The ability to take decisive action from a place of inner stillness. It's like the difference between a river and a flood. A flood has tremendous force, but causes destruction. A river has tremendous power, but creates life. The difference? The river has banks that channel its flow. Peace provides the banks that channel your energy effectively. Let me share with you the final peace principle, what I call the peace promise. It's a commitment you make to yourself, a declaration that from this moment forward, your peace will be your priority. Not your only concern, but your first concern. Not your only responsibility, but your primary responsibility. This promise isn't about perfection. You will lose your peace sometimes. That's part of being human. But with this promise, you commit to returning to peace more quickly. You commit to making decisions based on what supports your peace rather than what compromises it. Before you say yes to a commitment, you ask, will this support or disturb my peace? Before you react to a situation, you ask, is this reaction worth my peace? Before you engage in a conflict, you ask, how can I address this while maintaining my peace? The beautiful thing about this promise is that it becomes easy to keep over time. As you consistently choose peace, you'll find that peace starts choosing you. It becomes your natural state, your default setting, your home base. As you transform your relationship with peace, you transform your relationship with everything else. Your work becomes more effective because it flows from peace rather than pressure. Your relationships become more authentic because they're built on peace rather than need. Your health improves because your body responds to peace differently than it responds to stress. So I challenge you today, not just to understand these principles, not just to agree with them, but to live them. Start today. Start now. Make your peace your priority. Remember, this isn't about withdrawing from life. It's about engaging with life from a more powerful place. It's not about avoiding challenges. It's about meeting challenges with a peaceful heart and a clear mind. The world doesn't need more stressed out achievers. It needs peaceful warriors, people who can maintain their center while taking powerful action. People who can stay true to their peace while pursuing their purpose. People who understand that their peace is their power. You are meant to live from peace, not from stress, not from anxiety, not from fear, but from peace. This is your birthright. This is your nature. This is your truth. The choice is yours. Will you continue to let external circumstances dictate your inner state? Or will you make the revolutionary decision to put your peace first? Your peace is waiting. Your power is waiting. Your potential is waiting. All that's required is your decision, your commitment to force yourself to put your peace first today and every day. Remember this moment, this beautiful moment where you finally understand that you don't have to choose between your peace and your progress, between your serenity and your success, between your calm and your achievements. Every step you take from a foundation of peace will be more powerful, more authentic, and more meaningful than 1,000 steps taken from chaos. Your peace isn't just another item on your to-do list. It's the foundation from which everything worthwhile grows. And when you truly understand this, when you finally force yourself to put your peace first, you'll discover that everything you've been chasing, the success, love, fulfillment, purpose, was actually chasing you all along, waiting for you to be still enough to receive it. Today marks the beginning of your peace revolution. Choose peace. Choose it first. Choose it now. Everything else will follow. Thank you.